and welcome back to Forward to the Past, and today we're going to be revisiting the wonderful GTA Vice City. Does it still hold up? Spoiler, the soundtrack is definitely still amazing. Anyway, let's get right into the video. Let's talk about, does it still hold up? Unfortunately, when I went back to play this wonderful game from our past, I realised that the controls weren't the best, and that it definitely didn't age well. But that is to be expected with a game as old as Vice City. But I do still love the story of Tommy and how the story develops. Next is the music in the game. Is it still amazing? Yes, it still is amazing as we remember. As seen in the intro of this video, Radio Killed the Radio Star was one of the more popular songs from the radio, along with the classic Billie Jean by the main guy MJ. Now, the driving, is it still good? Surprisingly, unlike the other controls in the game, the driving is still as good, as we all remember. And it is an amazing thing to see that you don't need to use the back triggers to do driving justice in video games, as we do now. So, I also have a lot of good memories with this game growing up, as I grew up playing the GTA series, and GTA Vice City was one of the first ones I ever played. I even played it before the main one that everyone seems to love more, which is San Andreas. I remember when I was a very young age, which I shouldn't have been playing this game, I booted it up and decided, let's see what this is all about. And I can always remember the opening cutscene that you'll see during this video, and going, whoa, this is going to be awesome, because I wanted to understand the story, I wanted to understand the characters better, I wanted to know what this game was all about, because obviously, being that young, you don't really know the difference between stories and things of that nature, so I decided, why not give it a chance and see how good it is. Because of that, I was amazingly surprised with this game. This game was unbelievable for me. I was like, holy crap, the story's so good. The controls at the time, as I said, unfortunately, they don't hold up today, but back then, they were amazing. It felt like, oh my god, the controls are so intuitive, I can't believe a game is this awesome. And like I keep saying, the soundtrack in this game is one of the best things to ever happen to a GTA game ever. I don't think GTA has ever been able to recreate the soundtrack from this game, and it's even prevalent in the new GTA 5. I still play GTA 5 as well, but the soundtrack was never properly the same since Vice City. Vice City just had an aesthetic towards the game that you always wanted to learn and listen to the songs, and they were always really good and catchy. Like Radio Killed the Radio Star. No, the Video Star, sorry. Because of that one song, the game was so massively popular because it fit so well with the time it was set in. And that is amazing to think that one little song, especially one that was only really popular because of the game and because it was popular at the time, and they never really had any other songs after that that actually were mainstream, is amazing to think. And obviously, as I said, the main man MJ was in this game as well with his amazing song Billie Jean. If you know Billie Jean, it's a great song. Unfortunately, I'm not going to talk about what other people think of MJ as of right now, because that's not a part of this video. But anyway, also, like I was saying, like when I was growing up playing this game, it was one of those things where it came out of left field for me. It was more just like, I'm bored, I want to play a game. And because I was young and obviously naive to the extent of like, this is a game that I shouldn't really be playing at the time, I just stuck it in, and as I said, the wonderful world just entroped me into it. And revisiting gave me back so many memories. I was like, oh my god, I can remember this scene, especially at the beginning intro when you're just arriving in the car, and then you get onto the moped, and you're sitting driving about, and you're like, yes, I remember this. I can remember jumping on this moped to drive to the next mission, which is basically just saving, but because you first jump on that moped, and that's when you first turn on the radio, and that's normally when you hear the songs. Unfortunately, most of the songs nowadays you can't play on YouTube because obviously the DMC rules and the copyright behind them. But because I didn't use a lot of the song, I used less than 15 seconds, I'll get away with that. But luckily enough, that's all I can get away with, because if I could, I would automatically have the whole soundtrack, or most of the soundtrack, in this video. Because that just goes to show you how great of a soundtrack it really was. Because that's what most games I think are lacking nowadays, is like they don't have an actual feel. Like some of the soundtracks are good, but most of them are just previous copies of the other games. Where Vice City, you will never get another gaming experience like it because of its time setting and because of the amazing music they used in it. But also, like I said, the controls never really lived up now, which is quite a shame because I always loved the GTA series. And yeah, you could always come back, like, the control system hasn't changed too much, it's still the same sort of layout, but the shooting is done with the back triggers. Unfortunately for me, I prefer the back triggers because when I was running about trying to shoot people in GTA, and try to get the gameplay for this, it was really annoying trying to get the crosshair properly aligned up with someone because I have been using the PC versions, and I realized that the controls with a controller are still just the exact same as it would be on console, but I just couldn't get them lined up correctly. No matter what, you could tone that down to me being just bad at the game, and you're entitled to that. But it's also the fact instead of to shoot with the back bumpers, it was circle, and some of the times that it looked like I was shooting at someone, I actually wasn't, and it got kind of frustrating. So unfortunately, that is where that falls. And like I was saying about the driving still holds up, and I'm glad to see that you don't have to use the back bumpers for driving, because I think too many games nowadays use that mechanic because they think it's a proven and working method, which it is for certain games, but other games try to replicate it and they don't do it justice as they should. Also, going back and revisiting this game made me realise that a lot of the games that we will be revisiting on this channel is going to be a great blast, and that's because I really genuinely believe going back to play these old games is something we need to start doing, because nowadays a lot of these games, they're filled with microtransactions, they're filled with DLCs, and going back to these games, it's like you had the full game. You didn't, yeah, and even back then, you didn't have to install over 100 gigabytes just for a game. You just put your disc in, you put your controller in, you booted your system up, and you were ready to go. And it was one of those great experiences that I don't think will ever be replicated ever again, especially in the world of digital buys in consoles, which is unfortunately for most of us. But this has been a great video for me because I know what I'm wanting to do now. I want to realize what I can do with this channel, and I'm going to try do it even more justice as much as I can. And if you're okay for sticking around to see this channel grow and get bigger and do more things and do more revisiting videos of all your nostalgic games, I'm going back from all different years, before I was born, during when I was born, and even games that I grew up with. So if you're very interested in looking into those sort of stuff, then I'd really, really would like if you could subscribe to the channel and show it some support. If you don't want to, that's understandable. You might have just clicked on this video just to see it. But if you're enjoying the content and you really want to support this channel, please subscribe. But this has been Forward to the Past, and I'll see you in the near past.